Hi guys, Rhonda without an H here with you. Okay, let's get going on another page in our altered books. The second project that I am challenging you to do with me is a waterfall. I love waterfalls. They're fun to make. And of course, I haven't embellished this one yet. I have a little bit, but this is where you add pictures, notes, drawing, whatever it is that is interesting to you, that is personal to you. So I did a waterfall on half of the page, and then I just put a little glassine pocket on the other side. Originally, I was going to do waterfalls on both sides, which is why I have this. But I decided I kind of liked, I like this, but I love this. So that's what I did. Okay, so let me explain what I did to create this spread. As you know, I love deli paper, and sometimes I will just paint deli paper. You can use your jelly print, you can jelly print it or paint it, whatever, and you don't have to use just deli. You can use any kind of, not too heavy of a paper. I wouldn't recommend cardstock. That's probably a little bit too thick, because by the time you glue your two pages together, and you glue your two pages together, and if you add cardstock and then you have other embellishments too, that gives you a really heavy, thick page. You can do that. I'm just saying that's not what I'm going to do. So, glue your two pages, that come together, glue them together. There again, this is what I used. Just a glue stick. And then I cut to size. Now, for those of you that are interested to know what size I'm working with here, I will share with you that my book pages are 5.5 inches by wide by 8.5 inches long. And I'll go into a little more detail on the waterfall pages in just a minute. So what I did, I had some deli paper that I had painted, and I thought it would be fun to kind of, it's in the same crazy color scheme. So I cut this to size, and I glued it on with this glue stick. I really, I did a lot to it, glued it really well with a glue stick. Sometimes that's what people have issues with, is they just are a little timid with the glue stick. And I have found that with a glue stick, to really get it to take well, is you do have to use quite a bit. And I go back over it. But you can also use any type of a glue that you like. I also use this. And what I did then was I just glued this to one half of the page, and then on the edges I kind of added this a little bit, because sometimes on the edges it's a little harder for it to stick down really tight. So that's what I did to get it nice and snug. On this other side, what I did was I had been sent some beautiful tissue paper, wrapping up a gift for some Happy Mail, and I thought I just, was careful because I just think this is beautiful. And the colors, hello! Hello, they do have to go. So I cut another piece of paper the same size. This is tissue paper. And I did the same thing on this other side. So I glued this side down, I glued this side down. So now I've got, you know, pretty sturdy pages. Then what I did on this page, I added some washi tape on the edge here, and in the middle, may be difficult to see, but I glued it down in the middle. Well, I guess you can see just on this one side. I didn't do that to the other side. But like I said, I'm only showing you what I'm doing, and I'm, you know, you do not have to copy me. In fact, I encourage you just to do your own thing. This is just to give you some suggestions. So then what I did was I made the pages for my waterfall. So let me move this out of the way for just a minute. We'll bring this back, so if you do, chances are your book is not going to be exactly, you know, your pages are not going to be 5.5 inches by 8.25 inches. So, but this could be adaptable for some, but this is what I did. So I cut individual, well, let me move this off in case you're writing. I cut individual pages, and it takes 6 or 7 to do what I'm doing here, depending on how you want to do it. But it takes 6 or 7 of these pages, and they are 3 inches by 3.25 inches. 3 inches wide by 3.25 inches long. And then you also need a backing to put them on. And so I did this. This is 6.25 inches long by the 3 inches wide again, so I can lay those on top and glue those. Okay, now on the 6 or 7 that I told you about, see what I have done here. I have 7. But this last page covers the bottom here. But you don't actually have to have this last page. What you could do is eliminate that, and as you can see, this would show through on the bottom, and it would be perfectly fine. This just gives me an extra page to doodle with, to, you know, to play with, but it's definitely not necessary. So after I did this and cut them out, then what I did was I went about the process. Look! Is this retarded? I don't know. So I used, as you can see, you guys, I'm using the pages from the book that I took out, whether it's utilitarian to help me or it's to put in the book. So I did a distressed ink, and this is Jim Holtz, and you know, I know he doesn't need me to give him any kudos. I'm sure he's doing very well. But I went around the edges on the front and the back. I'm not going to do that. But then, where is it? Where is it? Okay, right here. Then I added another ink pad that's more of a corally orange, because that's my color scheme, but obviously if you're doing pages in blues, you might want to have a blue, or etc. or not. And then I just added a little bit of the same principle to give just a fun, it's totally not needed, but it does make it really pretty. And I did it on both sides. If you are planning on covering up most of your waterfall with the pictures. In other words, if you're not going to use the edges as somewhat of a frame for your pictures on the inside or your writing on the inside, then this step of doing the distressing is totally unnecessary. It's, you know, there again, I'm leaving that up to you. That's why I'm leaving it up to you. Oh, that's really aging me, isn't it? Okay, so next step. And I did the same to this piece as well. Now what I did was I used a little ruler, but that's because I'm, you know, I'm obsessive about certain things. I wish I weren't, but I am. And so I have to work with, we have to work with who we are. This is double-sided scrapbooking tape. This is what I use. You can use glue. You could stitch these. And hello, I love to stitch, but I didn't on this particular waterfall. So I went in 1/2 inch increments in putting my waterfall together. So if you're doing 6 pages, for instance, or whatever it is, but if you want this to show through, then you would go in approximately 1/2 inch and line it up, like thus, you know. Anyway, so what I do first with the pages, and it just so happens that my score tape is 1/2 inch wide. So I run it along the top. Hopefully you can see a little bit of what I'm doing here. Okay. And I always use a bone folder to rub it nice, because score tape does have a tendency, if you don't, it may be difficult to, the whole thing will come up. Okay? So then you just have the glue now on this side. So then what I would do is line it up, and I'm sorry, but I have to kind of face myself. So here again, I've got a 1/2 inch ruler, and I'm going to butt this up against that 1/2 inch ruler and line it up and press it down. See how easy that is, you guys? First one done. And then I fold back up to that line, because I know I'm going to be playing with it, and, you know, up and back, up and back, up and back. And you will be flipping up and down if you're embellishing and you're doing writing and you're gluing pictures and whatnot in. So that's the first one. Then I would, as you can, you know, then I would do the same. I'd put my score tape on. I'd measure. Let's see. Let me remember. I'm like, up here. No. Then this is the part you just have to remember. It's from this second, and it makes it difficult because of the wonderful things he does. You know what? I'm going to show you this. This is driving me nuts. I just have to do at least this much, just this little tiny bit, so I can show you and you can see the difference. Okay, that's a little better. So then I take my 1/2 inch, right? And I have glued here, put my either glued, stitched, or put my score tape on, and I have butted it up to that. I lay it down, and you continue. So basically you just continue up, and then your last one will line up. You will match the top. You don't have to measure. You just line up the last one to measure the top here. And when you're done, voila, this is what you have created. It's just the funnest thing, guys. Okay, so moving on from that, now that you have created your waterfall, and we have, let's bring this back to show, we have this on one side, we have this on the other side that's glued down, and this has some washi tape on it. And I have a decision here. Now I can decide to glue this on this page as it is, or I can do something in between. And because I'm trying to put a lot of stitching in my book as well, recognizing that with the exception of a few stitches on the outside, perhaps of a page here and there, you know, along the edges here, it's not practical. I can't stitch in here in my sewing machine. It just won't work. But I can, for instance, do something like this. This is glued down. I can take this and I can do some things here, and I can stitch this and then glue it, and it looks like I've stitched. So that's what I'm doing, and that's what I will do with a lot of my pages. So it has the appearance of stitching through all of the layers, but obviously it's not. For sturdiness sake and for practicality, it's impossible. Well, I won't say impossible because you just never know. But with the setup that I have, it wouldn't work. So this is what I did. I took this and I honestly, actually, I don't remember. I probably used the score tape to do like 3 lines and then stitch that down. But that was not the first thing that I did. What I did was I took this piece of paper and I put lace. I did lace all around the edge. Okay. This lace, I stitched it completely around all 4 sides, and I did it deliberately so that the particular lace, it wouldn't go over. So I had to do some measuring and things before I did that. And you can see up here just a little bit, a lot of it's covered up, but you can see that I have stitched that. I did a zigzag and I did all the way around. And then I glued this with the lace down. And then and then I started adding some different embellishments. And it, you know, whatever order you want to do it in. I added this. Some of you might recognize this. This was just a little bit of that handkerchief that I had back from, oh golly, a journal I made several months ago at least. I had just this one beautiful little piece left. So and it was the perfect color, hello. So I just added that and glued that. So okay, a little bit of a computer or a photographer error. That would be me. This is getting too long. It takes me a long time to think through my process and decide what it is that I think looks beautiful with it. And so because of that, I stitch down what I feel I can, and then I add to it. Now I could stitch this on the machine. I didn't, but this would have been okay. But that's why I don't. You can play with it and add and build and then perhaps do some stitching. But this is just, it's what I've shared with you in some of my other videos. It's a matter of adding and layering on top of that. So just real quickly on this page, I did the same basic thing. After I had my tissue paper, I just started building, adding a little bit here, a little bit there. I also put one of these pages down, and then I added and built upon it, stitched. This particular is a tissue paper for pattern paper, a ruffle that I made. This is a glassine bag that I printed on. This is just a pretty little tag, and I did do a little bit of journaling in that. I've got some fabric, got some lace, layering. You can see this coming through here. It's just whatever you want to do. Just whatever you want to do. Now, I want to show you, I have not taken the time to go ahead and add my pictures or journaling on this, but I want to give you a sneak peek. I'm also working on a family history altered book, and I will show you another waterfall that I just finished up. Is that fabulous? These are all family pictures. These are things that are important to me, my family, my ancestors, and I have put them in this waterfall. So, I don't want to, that's for another video, a whole nother share, but I just wanted to show you one of the things that you can do with your waterfall. All right, guys. That's it for now. I'm excited. I hope you are too. Build a waterfall, make a waterfall, and we'll see you next time. Until then, have a fabulous day. Bye now.